My name is Shi, and I am 16 years old this year. I remember I seem to be playing MC. Why are you here now? Where is this? Oh. When I saw that 3 wives and 4 concubines, using third-party assistance software, Huahang, I immediately understood. This is actually the Dolua continent. Crossing over, that's all. Whispering. Actually, I would rather travel to the continent of blocks. What can I do? Do as the Romans do when in Rome. I have also seen the Dolua series. Since you're here, let's do something. According to management, I should have a system. The Divine Dragon system has been successfully bound. Unlocking the block form. Oh. Also sending block people. Square man block man woohoo. The system that knows me. The brilliance of C. bloom in this Dolua continent. This book, also known as The Evolution of the Dragon of the Peerless Tang Clan, book enthusiasts with ideas can join the book enthusiast group. 106-370-9361 keywords of the novel. The study of the Peerless Tang Clan Dragon without a pop-up window, the complete collection download of the Peerless Tang Clan Dragon TXT, and the latest chapter reading of the Peerless Tang Clan Dragon Research. Chapter 1. This is the most terrifying game I have ever played. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. This is the most terrifying game I have ever played. Today is the 30th day of the Lunar New Year, the last day of the 20th lunar year. Tomorrow is the Chinese New Year, and many children have also started using the name New Year to sit openly in front of the computer, using their own way to celebrate the New Year. Therefore, even though it is already past 11 o'clock at night, standing on the street and looking around, there are still many households with lights on, some with lights and some with fluorescence. Along the coast of Mingzhou City, in a seaside villa, the boy with black hair is staring intently at the computer screen in front of him. His name is Shi, 11, E4, and he is 14 years old. He is currently playing games. In a game, there are always a few memes, just like Shi sitting in front of a computer screen now. Playing games is a typical example of a person with a strong addiction to food. Up, up. Up, up. Bye. First floor, keep up. What are you doing? Bye. Third floor, hey. Hey. I fell, what are you all doing? Come and help me. Bye. On the 4th floor, Shi. In the room, there is a high-end computer that looks very valuable and has a high configuration. Beside the computer desk, there are boxes of instant noodles piled up in barrels. Although they are more expensive than packaged instant noodles, they can be thrown away directly after being eaten without washing dishes, saving a lot of time for cultivation. Currently, Shi is playing a game called Parachute Simulator. On the 4th floor, hold on. I'm here to help you. First, find a hidden place to cat, and I'll come right away. The brothers on the 2nd floor said, suddenly changing their tone and shouting, Chenbu, Mu Chao. There's Lao Lu. Before he could finish speaking, the 2nd floor also fell to the ground. Come and help me. Someone, you guys. Shi continued to shout. Although the brothers on the 2nd floor also fell to the ground, they managed to climb up to Shi's side. Hey. Brother on the 2nd floor, it's not me talking about you. Why are you so incompetent? Come on, someone. I'm almost dead. Shi looked at the half-remaining health bar and quickly said. Sigh, I feel like I'm not suitable for this kind of third-person shooter game. How about I change the game, the brother on the 2nd floor murmured to himself. Clam. I didn't see you much during the police-bandit battle. Besides, isn't it possible to adjust the perspective to first person in this game? Shi said. Ah. The 2nd floor was bewildered and automatically ignored the latter half of the sentence. He didn't even remember playing a police and bandit battle with this 4th floor brother. I think the brothers on the second floor are right, said the brothers on the third floor. On the fourth floor, why don't you change the game too? You're not suitable for shooting games. Have we ever played CS together? The brothers on the second floor continued to be confused. Do you still have the face to say that I'm a vegetable? I'm too lazy to spray you even if I drop you into a box. Where's your face? Ha! Where's your face? On the third floor. Shi retorted without hesitation. The brothers on the third floor looked bewildered when asked by Shi and murmured to themselves, do we put up a team? How did he know that I put up a box of ground up? You all hold it back, right, said the brother on the first floor, who had been missing for a long time. You're all very good. I haven't even talked about you, master sketching. A semi-immortal who can even use a spray to stroke edges. Do you still have a face to blend in with? Shi retorted without hesitation. That's right, even if you mention me, I can't really carry it even though it's their Taikai, said the brother on the second floor at this moment. Are you okay with the second floor? Is it okay to show off your broken skills, said the brother on the third floor. There, you didn't see it. My sniper looks handsome, said the brother on the second floor, showing off. Come on, your fire stick has been thrown into the sky. This game ended quickly as usual. Dong dong dong, Shi just casually pointed out a report to his teammate when the sound of knocking on the door suddenly rang out. Shi had some doubts. His family lived in a seaside villa along the coast of Mingzhou City, which was only a few hundred meters away. This was also why Shi played games so loudly, but no one accused him of disturbing the people. Besides, Shi is a dead end and has no real friends. It's already late at night, who else will come knocking on the door? Hush. Did those teammates crawl over the internet cable? Shi glanced at the computer screen with some nervousness, played a total of 547 games this season. Successfully won 0 times. Killed 0 enemies. Killed 247 teammates. Encountered 1396 reports. Overall evaluation. Teammate killer. Shi casually uninstalled the game and quickly posted a comment on STM, this is the most terrifying game I have ever played. The interval between knocking on the door narrowed, and the people outside were noticeably impatient. Crawling over the internet cable. How could it be? Shi encouraged herself in her heart, took out a bottle of insecticide from the room, left the room, and walked towards the door. Under normal circumstances, insecticides may not cause much harm, but if they are aimed at the eyes, they can definitely make an adult man lose his mobility. Almost at the same time as Shi stepped out of his room, the knocking on the door disappeared as if it had never appeared before. Shi's heart suddenly tugged, and the plot he saw in the novel told him that the lights should never be turned on in such a situation. So, in the living room, he blackened out the Exorcism 3-piece set. Holy Light Flashlight. Silver Cross. Fresh Beans. Under this set, no matter what vampires, werewolves, zombies, ghosts or evil spirits you have, you will suffer great harm even if you don't die. Dong. There was a sudden knock on the door, which startled Shi and almost caused her to fall to the ground. On the internet, XYY, who fights against the sky, earth, and air, is also afraid of ghosts and evil at this moment. Calm down. Think about how those novels are written. Shi let out a deep breath, trying to cheer herself up with the plot from the novels. In the novel, as soon as the protagonist opens the door, he sees the sickle of death emitting a cold light. A few pale hues leak from under the pitch-black cloak, and then the Grim Reaper was actually a newly appointed white-haired cute girl, with no experience in her first job and was fooled by the protagonist. In the end, thinking of this, Shi suddenly became restless. What kind of evil? What kind of demon? As long as it takes shape, it can be done well, right? Shi quickly patted his feet and looked out from the cat's eye at the door. The outside of the gate was pitch black, followed by moonlight, and Shi did not see anyone. In novels, such plotlines are usually the result of a small cute loli knocking on the door. Completely forgetting his fear, YY grinned and opened the door. In response to him, there was only a cold wind. The cold wind blew on Shi, causing him to shiver. Shi held her arms and stretched out her head to look around, only to find that there was really no one there. It's strange to say that only Shi lives in the huge seaside villa. Well, I should have known earlier. How could the plot in the novel have appeared? Shi chuckled self-deprecatingly, thinking about how the plot of the cute girl's death story would have gone, so she turned around and closed the door with her hands behind her. "You can't leave," said Mori Rant's voice, and the pale palm that appeared on his shoulder at some point, leaving Shi momentarily stunned. About 10 seconds later, Shi mechanically twisted his head. Behind him, black and white, two tall figures with pale faces crawled into view. The white one, with his tongue sticking out, almost fell to the ground. Shi's body trembled and took out a UV flashlight to shine on it. No response. He took out a simple silver cross made of a pair of silver chopsticks and rubber bands and shook it. No response. Then he took out the beans and touched the other person. Still no response. Shi trembled and threw away the exorcism 3-piece set, then looked at the other person's chest. Flat. I looked at the other person's neck again. There is an Adam's apple, male. Ah. Shi suddenly let out a pitiful scream like killing a pig. When Shi regained consciousness, it was already late at night in his own room. As soon as I opened my eyes, I bumped into the two ghostly shadows, one black and one white. Shi was about to faint again when he heard the black one say, "We are black and white impermanence. You have reached the end of your life, speak out your last wish, and then follow us." Shi was taken aback and then said, "Why didn't Miss come to pick me up?" After his brain realized what he had said, Shi quickly covered her mouth, but the situation was already settled. "Are you sure?" Bai Wuchang widened his eyes slightly and gestured to Black Wuchang. "Show him the portrait of Mengpe." Black Wuchang nodded, his black light flickered in his hand, and then a portrait appeared somewhere, saying, "Here, the little sister you want." Shi probably didn't expect that they would also satisfy his unreasonable demands. After taking over, he fixed his eyes on it. I saw the old woman on the portrait, her face wrinkled like pickled vegetables with too much salt, covered in old age spots. The eye sockets were deeply sunken, as if someone had burned 2 holes with a shotgun. Collapsed nose bridge, yellow teeth, a vivid old witch. Ah 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 ah. Shi let out a scream and his face turned green with fear. Living in the anime all the year round, with countless pieces of paper people and wives, where has he seen such people? So Shi immediately admitted to being cowardly. "Big brother. I was wrong, big brother, you should come pick me up and leave. As long as you don't let her come pick me up, I'll go with you now, big brother." Shi hugged Black Wuchang's thigh and said with a runny nose and tears, obviously scared. "Let's get up first," said Black Wuchang, and then he put away the portrait with a hint of guilt. In fact, this is just a terrifying measure they use to make the souls of those LSPs guided safe. The real Mengpe doesn't look like that. I still remember the white-haired figure next to the Naiha bridge. When he first saw this portrait, he angrily picked up a soup bowl and chased after Black and White Wuchang for 5 streets. The ghosts on the side who were preparing to drink soup were all stunned. In the end, Yan Wangye personally took the initiative to persuade the enraged Mengpe. I won't go into detail, after all, our theme is not about the underworld. Don't get up. Shi shook her head and said, "Unless you promise me she won't come and pick me up." "Okay," Black Wuchang nodded and said. Anyway, Mengpe herself wouldn't have left Naiha Bridge, otherwise she would have been praised by her for her temper. When drinking soup later, don't let her serve it to me. Also, cover my eyes. Shi said again. Line. Shi, who received a positive answer, quickly got up and said with a tremble, "So, big brother, what are we doing now?" "I'm really dead." "Yes, you're already dead," Bai Wuchang said. "According to the rules of the underworld, say your last wish and then come with us." "Big brother, before I say my last wish, can you tell me that I'm only 14 years old this year and society hasn't messed with anyone? Why is my longevity gone?" Shi asked in confusion. Bai Wuchang pointed to the unclosed door and said, "Here, it's the one inside." Shi looked in the direction of Bai Wuchang's fingers, but it was not his own computer. "This eye." Shi's words were incoherent. I mean. Bai Wuchang said, tapping on Shi's computer screen with his finger. The screen switched to Shi's friend list. "Your original lifespan was probably around 78 years old, said He Wuchang. But because you stay indoors all year round and see very little light, you already have a decline in yang and a rise in yin. In addition, the biological energy you call your teammate every day greatly reduces your lifespan, and with the evil you have caused since birth, you are in danger." Nyet. Shi tilted her head and blinked, saying. "You don't need to know too much, now, say your best wish," said Black Wuchang. Aye. Shi thought for a long time, then said, "I want to play another Genshin Impact Alliance. I want to play Mandrill." 10 minutes later. "Black and white impermanence is also boring, and I also joined the game. You're playing with your asterisk. Black Wuchang had never been so angry before, picking up Shi and about to leave. "Wait a minute." Bai Wuchang suddenly stood up and said. "What's going on? Old Bai, do you want to speak for him?" Black Wuchang asked. Bai Wuchang shook his head and saw Shi on Black Wuchang's shoulder, so, with a loud bang. Bai Wuchang gave Shi a slap and angrily scolded, "You and him you and %%%. Play with you you and %. You and %**. Shi was clutching his pained face from being beaten and was at a loss when 3 options suddenly popped up in his field of vision. You now have 3 options to choose from. A. Bind the Divine Dragon System, surrender body ownership, and travel to a different world. B. Refuse the system and allow black and white impermanence to drag oneself into the underworld. C. Choose nothing. On the spot, the spiral explosion takes off and takes off. May I ask what your choice is?" "I choose A." Shi immediately said, A. Did this kid's brain make you twitch? Why did he start talking nonsense?" Black Wuchang asked. "No. I stopped with that blow. It won't hurt my brain, it will only feel very painful." Bai Wuchang returned. "Are you sure? Confirm and affirm. So how did he make you turn into dust?" Black Wuchang said, and there was nothing left on his shoulder. What? What's going on? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Shenlong Reactor, 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Shenlong Reactor, 1, Master, we are about to reach the far north. A crisp voice sounded as a young man in white military uniform reported to Mirror Red Dust, who was surveying the terrain. Mirror in the mortal world, the current leader of Mingdahal. The others are research teams from the New Energy Research Institute under the Sun Moon Imperial Academy of Sciences. 10,000 years ago, after the Great War between the two empires and the Martial Soul Empire, the Martial Soul Empire was defeated, and one of its two deities fell and the other lost his power. The one who scattered the martial arts, after being defeated, crossed the sea with those who still supported the Martial Soul Empire. After drifting on the sea for more than a decade, he finally found a new continent, and at that moment, the Lord announced that the Martial Soul Empire was renamed the Sun and Moon Empire, which was called the Sun and Moon Continent. At that time, the adult held a meeting and explained to several elders of the martial Soul Empire, promote a professional in soul-guided weapons and study soul-guided technology. Later on, although the soul guidance technology of the Sun and Moon Empire advanced rapidly, it faced a major challenge. That's energy. Energy is the foundation of everything. Without energy, everything is just a fantasy. So, the head of Mingda Hall, Jing Hongchen, sometimes leads the scientific research team to the far north to search for new energy, in order to motivate the members of Mingda Hall. After entering the far north, let the members of the scientific research team tighten their minds and not miss any details. Jing Hongchen ordered, I reiterate that this is a dangerous far north place, comparable to the soul beast forest you have been to. Don't think you are arrogant and complacent just because you have some strength. Obedience, Master. The young man in white was named Christian Horner, one of several confidants under the mirror red dust. Because his martial soul was in the field of investigation, he was promoted to be a member of the intelligence department. Horner immediately responded with a formal response. The Arctic region has been a place of bitter cold since ancient times, with almost no plants able to survive here. Even soul beasts are mainly cold-resistant large soul beasts. There are also some special soul beasts such as ice scorpions and snow maidens. Quickly, several strong reconnaissance teams entered the far north from all directions. Although they all had their own soul-guided thrusters, the effect of soul-guided propulsion was very small in this weather. Therefore, they still walked deeper and opened up their spiritual power to explore everything around them. Being elected as members of the Arctic exploration team naturally means that their spiritual strength is not weak. Jing Hongchen also set an example himself, and his spiritual power covers an area centered around him, covering a radius of 100 meters. In this area, anyone with a life intensity exceeding 10 years of soul beast level will be discovered by his sharp spiritual power. Don't laugh at him for being a title Dolua, with his spiritual power expanding but only covering an area of 100 meters. This is the land of the extreme north, and it is not easy to achieve this level in extremely cold temperatures and still snowing heavily. However, it is evident that it is almost impossible for soul beasts to survive in the far north for only 10 years, so their spiritual power only targets some powerful soul beasts. Each exploration team is steadily moving forward, scanning with mental energy at the same speed. Although the mental strength of each exploration team member is not weak, there are also many people. But unfortunately, the territory of the far north is very vast, and it takes a considerable amount of time to scan it as a whole, or even explore only a part of it. When it was already noon, the small team led by Jing Hongchen himself stopped. Alright, now that we have arrived at the location, we have set up the detection program and everyone is taking a break. I hope we can make some discoveries this time, Jing Hongchen said seriously. But it is necessary to ensure that there is a Soul Master combo with more than one cultivation level who mixes with the detector and covers the area with spiritual power. Never create a vacuum zone. Everyone take a break and explore deeper into the far north. Finally, I can rest for a while, said Horner lazily, stretching his waist beside mirror red dust looking at the entire team. He is the only one who is so lazy. The others stand guard, detecting and surveying. 10 minutes later, a teleportation Soul Master rushed over in a hurry and said to Horner. Report to Captain, there is an abnormal situation from the Soul Master in the northwest direction. Currently, the Soul Master has fainted. This is the Soul Master recorder he is carrying. As he spoke, the Soul Mentor handed Horner an inconspicuous small pendant in his hand. Upon hearing this, Horner's expression immediately became serious. After taking the Soul Guide recorder from the Soul Mentor's hand, he used his spiritual power to slightly feel it. Suddenly, his spirit trembled and he quickly ran towards the direction of mirror red dust. Master, you. Take a look for yourself. Horner didn't know how to describe it for a moment, stuttering. It was better to let Mirror Hongchen take a look on his own. Upon hearing the words, the face of the red dust in the mirror also became solemn, and as a result, the soul guidance recorder closed its eyes to feel with its spiritual power. 5 seconds later, Jing Hongqian suddenly opened her eyes and without hesitation ordered. Notify all investigation teams that powerful life forms have been found in the E27 area. Do not approach the E27 area without authorization. Gather all investigation teams. Concentrate your strength, prepare soul-guided weapons, and personally command those who are stronger than or equal to Soul Doluo. What he felt in the soul guide recorder was an extremely massive energy of life, not a group, but one. The soul guide recorder also risks the red light of danger. It goes without saying that only soul beasts at the level of 100,000 years can unleash such powerful life energy. What did I ask you to bring? Jing Hongqian said to Horner again. In my soul guide, Master, Horner said, can I take it out now? Jing Hongqian nodded and said, also, call the 3 soul fighters in the team over. Yes. Horner took orders and with a thought, a soul guiding machine covering an area of 20.30 square meters appeared on the open snow. In no time, 3 soul masters with spiritual power as their main focus followed Horner and bowed to Mirror Red Dust. Mirror Hongqian bowed slightly in return and said, please kindly, everyone. These are all the cutting-edge powers of Mingda Hall, and Mirror Red Dust should not be too negligent. Master, are you going or should I go? Horner pointed to the huge soul guiding machine behind him and asked for instructions. You go, Jing Hongqian said. Okay, Horner heard this and came to the control panel of the huge soul guiding machine, operating it all at once. Everyone, prepare to release your spiritual power, Horner said to the 3 soul masters who were primarily focused on spiritual power. The 3 of them looked at each other, nodded at each other, and at the same time released their massive spiritual power to infuse into the huge soul guiding machine in front of Horner. This is a method that countless ancestors exchanged their lives for. After all, spiritual power is not soul power. A bad one may go crazy and not die, but the probability of becoming a fool is still quite high. Strong spiritual power had already been instilled, and Horner immediately activated the operation, pressing fiercely on the control panel with a crackling sound. Quickly, the spiritual power connected, and under his guidance, a massive spiritual power was emitted from the instrument in front of him, ultimately locking the target. Jing Hongqian stood up straight and turned to look at the main screen of the instrument. On the main screen, a picture was rapidly zooming in. At the beginning, it was just a white expanse, and soon, a clear picture could be seen. Next, there is a valley surrounded by ice and snow. It is said to be a valley, but in fact, it is more like a huge sinkhole, emitting a deep purple light in the sky. The sinkhole rapidly magnifies in the high-definition detection of the spiritual power connection reconnaissance, all the way to the depths of the sinkhole. It's strange that the depths of the sinkhole are not purple but orange-yellow. Next to a fractured rock in the center of the pit. The massive energy of life emanates from here. When the spiritual connection is positioned at that point, both Mirror Red Dust and the young man in white can clearly see that under the cover of white snow, there is a faint orange-red halo flickering. Zoom in a little more, Jing Hongqian said in a deep voice. The screen continued to zoom in a bit, and this time it became clearer. The snow was not only flashing orange-red, but also with a hint of black. Black, if present or absent, surrounded by orange-red. Horner scratched his head and looked at Mirror Red Dust, asking, Master, this doesn't look like a soul beast. Do you know what that is? End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Shenlong Reactor, 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Shenlong Reactor, 2, the snow in the sinkhole has been partially cleared. After 24 hours of various explorations. After preliminary probing, Jing Hongqian and his reconnaissance team have confirmed that the place with orange and black flashes and strong life energy fluctuations should not be in danger. Because their death squad was already very close to that thing, almost reaching out to touch it, but it didn't react at all. If it were a dangerous creature, it would definitely not be able to bear to start fighting. Based on the preliminary judgment of the parts that have been cleared, this should be a remnant. In the absence of danger, a relic with 100,000 years of soul beast life energy can definitely be considered a great discovery for them. Moreover, based on the current situation, it is very likely that there is a soul beast that has been transforming for 100,000 years inside. If it weren't for the rationality still present, mirror red dust would have been unable to resist rushing into the core of the orange light at this moment. The next step is to excavate the remaining part of the ruins. Several teams of soul mentors are busy in the sinkhole, combining their own soul guides. Although they already knew that the creatures in the orange glow would not attack them actively, they still dared not completely let go of their hands and feet. After all, the rabbit was forced to bite even when it was in a hurry. Not to mention this extremely high level of life organism. Therefore, although they have been busy for half a day, they have only cleared the surface layer of snow. But beneath the snow, there is still hard ice, which has frozen for countless years and is often even harder than steel. To avoid offending creatures in the light, they must be particularly careful. The ice layer is thick, but after clearing the snow on the surface, the transparent solid ice reflects more clearly the presence of orange, red and black halos inside. Upon closer inspection, this kind of light is not a whole cluster, but 7 clusters, 6 small clusters, and 1 large cluster. The largest one among them is also enveloped by a blue, mesh-like fluid energy, emitting a faint and strange light blue light. The light is faintly visible, not very strong, but it is also a true existence. The soul guide that can strengthen mental power has been on all along, controlled by Horner, and has been keeping a close eye on the situation inside the ice. The life energy remains unchanged and there are no fluctuations due to their external behavior. This is a good phenomenon, indicating that the likelihood of its harm will be reduced to a lower level. The soul guide, combined with the energy released by soul power, slowly cuts through the solid ice, slowly uncovering this thing that has been buried deep in the ice and snow for countless years. After cutting down a layer of ice about 5 or 6 meters thick for over 2 hours, they were able to roughly determine the size of the object. 6 small clusters are equal to each other, with a diameter of about 2 meters and a width of about 120 centimeters. The large cluster has a volume 4 times that of the small cluster, with a diameter of about 8 meters and a width of about 500 centimeters. It can be determined that the 6 small clusters should draw energy from what comes into contact with them and then input it into the middle large cluster. This strange thing is unheard of by the members of the exploration team. But Jing Hongchen furrowed her brows and suddenly her face changed. This, is it? The voice of Jing Hongchen trembled slightly with excitement. Horner looked at the object emitting an orange glow and was lost in thought. Coincidentally, when Mirror Hongchen spoke, he asked, "Master, do you know what that is?" Jing Hongchen took a deep breath, barely calmed down her emotions, nodded, and said, "At the beginning of the establishment of the Japanese Empire, that adult once said this thing." "What?" Horner scratched his head and asked suspiciously, "Master, is he not a living body?" "Yes," Jing Hongchen replied. "But if it were not a living organism, how could it release such a huge amount of life energy?" Horner continued to ask. Jing Hongchen made a stop gesture and slowly said, "I'm not sure if this is the thing mentioned by the adult, but based on the current situation, this orange-red object is likely to be the legendary dragon reactor." Shenlong reactor. Everyone exclaimed in surprise. "That's right," Jing Hongchen said. As recorded by that adult, the Shenlong reactor is the largest flux container, a divine tool, and an unparalleled tool for energy. The Shenlong reactor is divided into 7 parts, 6 subparts, and 1 mother part. The subparts are 6 energy injectors that absorb all the energy they can come into contact with and convert it into RF, which is the ultimate current, continuously delivering it to the core of the Shenlong reactor in the mother part. The Divine Dragon Reactor was originally designed to enchant weapons with artifacts and above, but it was lost in the far north for some unknown reason. Later on, it gave rise to spirituality, but unfortunately, there was not even one artifact on the continent at that time, so this divine dragon reactor was frozen in the far north. I never expected that today, it would be discovered by us. Isn't that so? Horner was so excited that he almost couldn't speak. Everyone else has similar emotions. Jing Hongqian nodded, with a relieved smile on her face, and said, with the Shenlong reactor, Mingde Hall, even the Sun and Moon Empire, and even the entire Dolua star, there will be no shortage of even a tiny bit of energy anymore. How important energy is. Energy can be said to be the foundation of everything, and almost all soul-guided technologies rely on energy to accumulate. Many technologies that could have been achieved were unable to continue research due to insufficient energy. Now, with the Shenlong reactor, everything will become different. What is the existence of the Shenlong reactor? That's the ultimate divine-level reactor. Moreover, it is a powerful existence that can evolve artifacts into super artifacts under certain circumstances. Artifact, that's an artifact. An incredibly powerful artifact. Thinking of this, Jing Hongqian and everyone present have a feeling of boiling blood. The soul guidance side believes that with the continuous energy supply from the Shenlong reactor, we can finally take the soul guidance technology to the next level. Without a doubt, with the Shenlong reactor, in the next few years, even hundreds of years, Mingde Hall's soul guidance technology will definitely advance like a rocket. No, we can't just say it's a rocket, even if we get on a UFO, it's not as fast. Don't say, with this thing, as long as they want, they can really create UFOs. Moreover, with the Shenlong reactor, Mingde Hall's soul guidance technology can finally develop into the universe. That's right. Ming Detong has been developing space warships in recent years, but due to severe resource scarcity, this plan was castrated. And now, they can finally the soul power side believes that with the Shenlong reactor, perhaps they can challenge that impossible miracle. Being able to follow the mirror of the mortal world, their own strength will not be weak, but as their strength increases, they will cherish their lives more and more. After all, as long as one is still human, no matter how strong their strength is, there will eventually be a day of aging and death. Although the turtle has a long lifespan, it still has an end to its time. Only by challenging that impossible miracle and becoming a deity can we achieve true immortality. Moreover, as long as one becomes a deity, the entire continent will have no opponents. After all, no one will go beyond their means to fight a deity. So, why not use this power to help the Sun and Moon Empire, which was born, clear all obstacles? Especially the Shrek Academy, which leans towards the Star Empire and puts tremendous pressure on the Sun and Moon Empire. If it weren't for the power of the old Shrek Academy and the powerful power of the Sun and Moon Empire, why not worry about annihilating that small star empire? The Federation of Sun and Moon is their ultimate goal. Only by forming a federation can we truly achieve unity in scientific research and resources. If that's the case, with the addition of the Shenlong reactor, at most 300 years, no, 100 years is enough, and the Sun and Moon Empire can develop a super cosmic battleship fleet that even gods fear. Thinking of this, the expression in Jing Hongqian's eyes became somewhat complex, mixed with sadness and joy. Shiji, I have finally completed the important task given to me by my ancestors, and I am about to solve the energy problem that has troubled Mingde Hall for countless times. Sadly, he probably won't live until the day when the Sun and Moon Empire enters the universe, and he is no longer young. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Shenlong Reactor, 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Shenlong Reactor, 3. Now Mirror Red Dust is thinking, should we take back the Shenlong Reactor or build a base on site? If the Shenlong Reactor is transported back to the Mingde Hall headquarters, extra caution must be taken in the process of moving it. Because according to historical records, the Shenlong Reactor has its own circulating system, which is generally very stable. However, once any one of the 7 components is destroyed, disrupting the self-circulation system of the Shenlong reactor, it will trigger an unprecedented explosion. The explosive power, although the area that may be destroyed by the explosion is only half the size of a continent. However, the dragon radiation generated after the explosion is enough to spread to the entire planet. If it were really at that time, it would not be the leap of human civilization technology, but the downfall of the entire Dolua star. The blue net is designed to suppress the enormous energy inside the Shenlong reactor. With that blue net, once the Shenlong reactor is damaged, it will not immediately explode and can last for about 72 hours. But it can be imagined that with the current technological power, given 72 hours, you can only run from one section of the planet to the other, and it is impossible to escape the radiation range of the Shenlong reactor. Even if a person with extraordinary talents escapes to outer space, your planet will be gone, and the life energy in the vacuum will be thin. Sooner or later, soul power will be depleted, and it will be difficult to escape death in outer space. So, in the process of moving the Shenlong reactor, the participants must be tidal Dolua, and their mental strength must also be strong. Only with the spiritual power of the tidal Dolua level can we ensure that the Shenlong reactor will not be damaged during movement. However, once it breaks through the ice, during the process of moving the Shenlong reactor will release its own breath to some extent. That's a divine aura. Even with the joint efforts of more than a dozen tidal Dolua, it's absolutely impossible to completely block it. Now the divine level atmosphere of the Shenlong reactor is isolated by the blue net and relatively stable, but when it moves, it's hard to say. Once the breath is released, the temptation from a higher level will definitely make some lunatics take risks. Although it is unlikely to directly take the Shenlong reactor from the strong Ming Detong, it is still possible to destroy the Shenlong reactor and detonate it. Although the fact that the Shenlong reactor is actually extremely fragile is a fact that only a few people know, and most of them have already reached the pinnacle of cultivation, they are no longer willing to interfere with the world's world, but only pursue the impossible miracle alone. Can we build a base on site then? In this way, there is no need to worry about the leakage of breath, but this is the far north. The 3 great heavenly kings of the far north are all known to them. They are all powerful ferocious beasts with a level of over 200,000 years. Moreover, as soul beasts themselves, they strongly hate humans. Leaving aside the 3 great heavenly kings of the far north, even a 10,000-year soul beast would be a headache. Because the perennial soul beasts in the far north are usually stronger than those in the soul beast forest, with the power of Mingdahal, killing them is not a problem. However, almost all soul beasts in the far north have a common problem, which is that they never act as lone warriors, either unable to see or seeing a nest. Although it is not without individual actions, for example, the Snow Emperor, the leader of the northern 3 heavenly kings, is the only one in the entire Ice Sky Snow Woman race. But one of her is worth hundreds of eternal soul beasts. And the races here are generally protected. Simply put, as long as you kill any member of its race, the leader will definitely bring the entire race to pursue you. If you don't raise your ashes, you won't give up easily. This is a headache. On one hand, there may be explosions during movement, and on the other hand, there may be animal disasters caused by building a base on site. After careful consideration, Jing Hongqian decided to build the base here, as soul beasts have their own territories and generally do not leave them. Mulan comes forward, said Jing Hongqian. Master, I am here. A middle-aged man in blue stepped forward and respectfully said. Mulan, you are the fastest. Now look back at Mingdahal at the fastest speed and immediately summon all the high-level officials. If no one has at least 10 stored soul weapons, they will be directly collected from my soul weapons, all of which will be loaded with rare metals. Come here and assist me in building a steel base here. Jing Hongqian said calmly. Cast a steel base with massive rare metals, and then carve a matrix on it. By doing so, although it can isolate the internal atmosphere, the relative manpower required is astronomical. Not to mention anything else, the person who carves the soul guidance matrix must be a level 9 soul mentor, and to carve all of a base, at least 3 level 9 soul mentors are required. Jing Hongchen himself is one, and the other two Mingda Tang also have one. I will definitely rush back as quickly as possible, Mulan said in a deep voice, and then he was about to carry out the exhibition of his martial soul and spread his wings high. Whing! There was an inexplicable buzzing sound inside the Shenlong reactor. Jing Hongchen's face showed a puzzled expression, suspecting whether she had just hallucinated. And Mulan also stopped, with a puzzled expression on his face. Whing, whing, whing. This time, everyone heard it and searched for the sound source. It turned out to be the Shenlong reactor. Hall Master. Horner looked at the continuously buzzing dragon reactor and widened his eyes, saying. All the people on site widened their eyes and stuttered. I saw the core of the Shenlong reactor, which was the largest light cluster, suddenly contracting rapidly. This feeling. It's not good. Horner looked at the divine dragon reactor with great fighting, his body couldn't help but tremble. And everyone also understood. This is a special. Explosive rhythm, it's useless. Jing Hongchen seemed to be somewhat resigned and said, if the Shenlong reactor explodes, then the entire Dolua star will be destroyed. Run. Where can we go? Upon hearing Mirror Red Dust's words, everyone froze, followed by crying, lost silence, and self-blame. They are so regretful of coming to the far north. Crying, because I had a hard time, struggling all the way to climb to my current position, and everything now will come to an end in 72 hours. And I will never see my family and friends again. Silent people are like the mirror of the mortal world, knowing that there is no escape, no retreat, and can only accept fate. Self-blame, a person who blames themselves for destroying the entire Dolua star. Everyone closes their eyes tightly, welcoming the arrival of death. Hello, is the explosion time a bit too long? Some people make the last roast in their hearts. With a splash, something seemed to have fallen to the ground. Jing Hongchen opened her eyes and was immediately stunned. Others also wanted to see what fell to the ground, but agreed to be stunned, dumbfounded, and at a loss. I saw the Shenlong reactor shrink and gradually transform into a humanoid shape. After forming in the air, it lost its fulcrum and fell down. Looking at that figure, it was a little girl carved with jade, with short orange hair, a purple long dress, slightly narrowed eyes, and black pupils. At first glance, it was clear that she was a beautiful embryo, and as she grew up, she could definitely become a charming presence. She lay flat on the solid ice and snow, as if she couldn't feel the cold, her confused eyes gazing at the sky. Jing Hongchen and others wisely chose, if the enemy doesn't move, I won't move. If the enemy moves, I'll run away. Half an hour later, Jing Hongchen couldn't bear it anymore and began to slowly move towards the little girl. Cough, cough. Jing Hongchen's tactics coughed for a moment. Seeing that the little girl still didn't react, Jing Hongchen boldly walked into her field of vision. She saw Mirror Red Dust, her pitch-black eyes suddenly filled with energy. With a rub sound, she flew up from the ground and fell into Mirror Red Dust's arms. She happily said, "Mom, Mom." End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Long Yen Jing, Tian Long Yen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Long Yen Jing, Tian Long Yen. Jing Hongchen's face froze instantly, with question marks all over her face. Jing Hongchen was shocked when she realized it and blurted out, "Who is your mother?" The little girl was also stunned, staring at Jing Hongchen's face for a while. Suddenly, the little girl seemed to understand and pointed at Mirror Red Dust, saying, "That's it, Dad." All the people in the group were suddenly struck by lightning, both externally and inwardly. Cough, cough. Jing Hongchen first made a tactical cough twice to calm himself down and said, "Why do you think I'm your dad?" The little girl blinked her eyes and said, the first thing she saw was Dad. Then came another wave of the Stone Age. The first thing that comes to mind after everyone solves the petrochemical model is, what is this Nima? What the hell is that? The first thing I saw was my dad. Do you really think this is a soul beast? Wait. It seems that this can't be called a person, can it? Anyway, my life was saved, fortunately it didn't explode. Mirror Hongchen frowned tightly as she looked at the innocent little girl in front of her, lost in thought. And others don't have much to say, after all, they don't know how to deal with such things. It's okay. Anyway, they have a leader in the mortal world, and even if the sky falls, the leader will bear it. Anyway, it doesn't matter to me. Do you have a name? After a while, Jing Hongchen asked. Yeah. The little girl said happily, then lowered her head in disappointment and said, Dad doesn't remember my name. There's nothing like that. I remember it clearly. Jing Hongchen said coaxingly as she saw the little girl about to cry. Hey. You're the Shenlong reactor, right? The little girl looked up and said happily, yes, I am the Shenlong reactor. Only you, Dad, know this identity. As she spoke, the little girl affectionately wrapped her arm around Mirror Red Dust. Although Jing Hongchen had a million rejections in his heart because he was afraid that his improper operation would cause another explosion, everyone present understood the principle of not hitting the smiling face person, and besides, he may not be able to fight it, but Dad. The little girl released her grip on Jing Hongchen and looked at the group of people behind her. Now, they all know my identity. Before Mirror Red Dust could react, the little girl smiled and said, It's okay, dead people don't speak. Dad, let me do this simple thing. In an instant, the little girl's black pupils turned into erect pupils, and dense purple scales appeared on her clothes. This is Dragon Eye and Dragon Scale. Before the changes could be completed, in an instant, an orange-red light ball appeared in the little girl's hand and threw it towards the group of people. That doesn't look fast, but it's even clearer to see the terrifying energy within the light cluster. It seemed like they could dodge, but everyone felt as if an invisible hand was tightly gripping them, making them unable to move. Sigma, Sigma. Sleeping slot. Did I win the first prize? As the ball of light rushed towards him, Horner burst out a beautiful Dolua language. Watching the light ball containing terrifying energy get closer and closer to him, Horner managed to break free from his grip in that moment. The next moment, Sayako ran away without looking back. Hey! Hall Master! Hall Master! Horner shouted as he was about to be chased by the light group, help! Nonsense! Jing Hongchen couldn't help but stiffen her face and take out the seriousness that an elder should have. She glared angrily at the little girl and scolded, Stop it. Jing Hongchen felt that if this little girl really thought of herself as her father, she wouldn't ignore her words. Well. At least before the rebellious period. The little girl seemed to have suffered a great deal of injustice, looking inexplicably at the mirror world. Her big black eyes flickered, but she honestly put away the light ball. Ha. Horner was exhausted enough, and as he finally got rid of the danger, he stopped and felt tired all over his body. Wah! The little girl burst into tears. Why, Dad? As she spoke, the little girl also hammered the arm of the hammer Mirror Red Dust. Jing Hongchen revealed his identity as an old fox, and after a series of coaxing and deceiving, he finally calmed down the little girl's emotions and learned that her name was Long Yen. Long Yen. Jing Hongchen recited the name several times before saying, Are you surnamed Long? Upon hearing Jing Hongchen say this, she forked her hands and said angrily, Dad, you have indeed forgotten my name. I am called Long Yen and have no surname. Ah! Jing Hongqian was also struck hard by thunder, but at least he was also the leader of the Red Dust Hall. His brain was running rapidly and he said, yes, of course there is. Look. Since you were born to raise, also known as Dragon Research, why not call it Tianlong Research? How about that? Tianlong Yen blinked his eyes and said happily, alright, I finally have a complete name. Let's go. Jing Hongqian asked tentatively. Where are you going? Tianlong Yen tilted his head and asked. We go home. I heard that dividing lines can also fit words, so I ran over to join the lively dividing lines. Mirror Hongqian and his group took away Tianlong Yenho. In the far north, the sinkhole where the Shenlong reactor was once located. It's starting to snow heavily here, with goose feathers falling continuously. It looks like it's going to rain for over a month. In the sinkhole, the core of the Shenlong reactor has transformed into a girl named Tianlong Yen. So, what else is left in this area that originally belonged to the gods? The heavy snow is about to turn this frozen soil into snow again. The core of the Shenlong reactor has been taken away, and the snow has lost its meaning of existence, slightly suppressing the surface temperature of the Shenlong reactor. The deep blue isolation net has also disappeared. The significance of its existence is to suppress the core temperature of the Shenlong reactor and the fusion energy of the Shenlong reactor. However, it also lost its meaning of survival because its core was taken away. But there are still people who refuse to accept defeat. The deep blue light once again condensed, like the previous Tianlong Yen, transforming into a human-like figure, resembling a 6-year-old boy. He has sky blue short hair, a blue and white plain clothes, clean white skin, and deep blue eyes. His name is Blue Pavilion. As the name suggests, the blue isolation net transforms isolation into pavilion. It has to be said that the person who named Tianlong Yen and Longu is really a name loser. Longu looked around, his eyes lifeless, as if he had no soul. Research, he shouted loudly. He has done things like this 3 times already. Similarly, after 3 shouts, no one responded. Sorry, father, I couldn't fulfill your instructions, murmured Longu to himself. The blue pavilion seemed to have lost its soul and walked aimlessly towards the core area of the far north. During this period, some ghosts attacked him and treated him as a delicious dim sum. But what kind of person is his blue pavilion? No, he is not human. With a casual wave, a deep blue thunder composed of a large amount of RF, as the ultimate thunder RF in this world, bombarded the soul beasts attempting to eat the blue pavilion. At least until now, no soul beast has survived the RF bombardment, even with just 1 strike. Where are we going? Longu thought to himself, of course, to find a research institute. But where is the research institute? I don't know. In the heart of Longu, these few lines of words have been repeating themselves. Change the name of the protagonist here to Shi. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Wow. Golden Legend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Wow. Golden Legend. In the far north, it's still that boy, Blue Pavilion. There is no particularly powerful sound of thunder and lightning, and the RF of the Blue Pavilion is buried deep in the snow. If there is a soul beast that is not afraid of death approaching, there is no need to think about it. It is a wave of love from a sheep calling a beast, and then the body of the soul beast will be buried by the heavy snow. The RF of the Blue Pavilion is an extremely special type of battery. As long as the Blue Pavilion wants it, the current will have no sound, and of course, its power will not decrease at all. Blue Pavilion lost the meaning of his own existence, and of course, his soul no longer exists. Oh, he didn't have a soul originally, what he has now is just a very powerful body. His originally sky blue eyes have now become dull and lifeless, leaving only his instinctive reaction. However, there are very few soul beasts disturbing the blue pavilion anymore. After all, when soul beasts are powerful to a certain extent, they will generate wisdom, and of course they do not want to die. Therefore, there are fewer and fewer people attacking the blue pavilion. Except for a few fearless beasts, there are hardly any soul beasts attacking the blue pavilion. They all know the power of the blue pavilion. Although eating the blue pavilion would greatly harm them, the blue pavilion at this moment is like a land mine. Although it is a potato, it can also be eaten, but the prerequisite is to be able to withstand it and defeat this thunder. So, soul beasts with wisdom will no longer waste their lives for an impossible thing, which is detrimental. On the other hand, in an unknown place, Shi is now forced to go into deep sleep to allow his body to store more energy and ensure his survival in a powerful position that transcends time and space. Unfortunately, Shi's body's yang energy is weak, and his yin energy is quite heavy. This is undoubtedly adding insult to injury, and traveling through time is not an easy task. So, the system that causes trouble has arrived. Special opportunities occur. Shi was also directly awakened, and the golden light emitted by the golden characters almost pierced his titanium alloy dog eye. Wow! Chi roast, golden. Ordinary. Yo-yo, this is your great system. Judging from your previous behavior, you have relinquished ownership of your current body and it belongs entirely to this system. Therefore, this system hereby notifies you that your body is about to disappear. What kind of thing? Shi made a clever move and instantly regained consciousness. Once again. Because the host has already decided to bind the soul to the system. Therefore, the host does not have the right to choose. This is a notification, not a request. Before Shi could say anything, he was sucked into a certain vortex by a powerful suction force. Sad face, lie down, sad face. Wipe. Shi cursed inwardly, feeling as if she had just emerged from a tiger's den and entered a wolf's den. But before Shi could react any further, she only felt a pain in the back of her head and fainted. The voice of mystery asterisk this time, it's really a golden legend. However, when encountering an unconscious powerful body and abandoning its current body, no one should refuse, right? I heard that dividing lines can also be used to fit characters. The unconscious body, originally empty with light blue eyes, suddenly filled with a different color. The eyes turned black, and the words were no longer repeated in the mouth. However, the black eyes now looked like stars. Dog system, where did you teleport me to? Shi reacted and immediately said, not realizing her current situation. Your current location is Dolua continent. I'm still Tang San. Shi cursed, but suddenly saw her own hand and froze in place. Are you surprised or not? Do you feel that your waist is no longer sore, your back is no longer painful, your kidneys are not weak, your body is stronger, and you are looking better? You just have kidney deficiency, Shi immediately said, but after looking at it, it seemed like it wasn't her own body. She quickly said, where did you do to my body? Rework in the furnace, the 4 simple characters, returning to the furnace for reconstruction, but they directly touched Shi's heart and made him deeply saddened. That's his body, it's the second most precious thing given by his parents, and the first one is undoubtedly family affection, crossed out. Not right. His parents left him when he was very young. I left an 8-digit deposit, but I don't know where it went. Anyway, she never came back before crossing the river. The only sister is still a super academic, spending over 99% of her day studying. He doesn't seem to feel much about family ties at all. Isn't that the body becoming the ultimate important thing? Is this just a snap? Is it gone? No, no. Shi said in pain. The binding of the divine dragon system may cause you to lose control of your body, but don't give up, you still have a chance. World level mission triggered. Task name. Obtain body, and gain control of body. Condition for obtaining body. Complete any epic level task with 7 stars. The condition for obtaining control of the body is to engage in a battle of wits and courage with the system. Current body control. 0%. Note: when the body control reaches 50%, you can initiate a coup with the system, with a win rate of 50.50, but the risk is slightly higher. The control of the body is your probability of success. It is recommended to reach a higher standard before initiating a coup. Task evaluation. 8 stars, ancient. Upon hearing this, Shi quickly stood up, but the feeling that it was not his own body made him very uncomfortable. Task. Familiarize oneself with the body and defeat/tame a soul beast of 10,000 years or above. Task evaluation. 2 stars, average. Shi splashed a few times in the snow, threw a few drops of snow, and now he did feel more energized. In this icy and snowy place, he wouldn't feel cold even if he only wore a shirt. Who? Shi took a deep breath and slowly began to realize her current body. According to his memory, on the Dolua continent, there was a powerful profession called Soul Master as a representative. So, as a traveler, one must have soul power, which means one is also a soul master. So, Shi sat cross-legged and prepared to look inside her current body. Divine Dragon System. What a coincidence. Your previous body used to have soul power, but when I changed it for you, you really don't have soul power anymore. Shi. After playing for a while, Shi realized that he couldn't look inside. When he learned to look inside his body like he did in his previous life books, he would make a few sounds, and then blue lightning appeared in front of him. However, he couldn't see his current physical condition, making him doubt life. End of this chapter. How to identify direction in Chapter 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How to identify direction in Chapter 7. Autumn bean sack, autumn-winter sack. Shi seems to have understood something. These lightning strikes are probably my current internal condition, right? Shi thinks so. Shi thought this way, trying to export some of the light blue lightning from his body for use as an attack, while also verifying whether these were actually internal conditions of his body. Apply force to your hands and concentrate your mind. These are all important conditions mentioned in the book, such as using skills to open up big moves, and Shi tried to do so. However, he really succeeded. Centered around the place where Shi sat, a light blue current swept across the entire snow, and the dense RF penetrated the snow with a radius of over 100 meters. Its terrifying power caused the heavy snow in this RF-covered area to stop abruptly. These powerful RFs were like runaway horses, instantly killing several soul beasts who were still harboring a sense of luck. Most of them were millennium-old soul beasts with incomplete intellectual development. With a sense of luck in their hearts, they watched to see if they could sneak an attack on Shi. There is also one eternal soul beast, but it is the kind that has just entered eternal age. Although its intelligence has been developed, it is indeed the type of eternal soul beast that is young and reckless, with well-developed limbs and a simple mind. These soul beasts originally relied on their snow-white fur and strong hiding ability, which Shi had not noticed at first. But now, all of these AoE skills have been electrocuted to a burnt black color. White and black are very obvious. If this cannot be detected yet, either colorblind or blind, let alone the burnt black and the snow white, then it is obvious that Shi naturally saw it, but it was indeed startled. There were only 30 scattered ones in total, but suddenly all of them died, with the same appearance. Not only did it scare Shi's intelligence, but if it weren't for his current system entanglement, he would have thought he was being targeted by some demon, ghost, or snake god. Is this what I did? Shi said with some confusion. Task completed. Task completion evaluation. 2 stars, average. Character panel, open. It's really me who put it, so my body is full of electricity now. Shi roast, the roll panel. E-pad. Just open it and have a look. Thinking this way, Shi opened the character panel and suddenly, a handsome guy. It appeared on his panel. Character. Shi /. Body lead. Shi, probability of implicit personality awakening. 0.001% present body. RF level. Level 1 Magnum, Energy Star. RF, Soul Power. Level 97. Flux Container. Temporarily unavailable, I'm so handsome, Chow. How could this person be so handsome? Shi reflexively said, looking at the character's name again, he suddenly became clear and said, so it's me. No wonder he's so heroic. Then Chi looked down and said, recessive personality. How about playing D5? Ah. Can I break up a fifth personality? Indeed, Shi is the only child of 3 generations, and the probability of having an implicit personality is infinitely close to 0. Magnum Energy Star. Shi looked at it and froze in place. Isn't this an equivalent module? How can it be compatible with something from Dragon Research? Hey! Wait a moment, I remember that RF seems to be from Industry too. When she first checked the character information, various information was distributed at different positions on the character panel's body. For example, the invisible personality was displayed in Shi's brain, and the information of the first-level Magnum Energy Star was located in his heart. What's in the heart? Even Shi doesn't believe it when you say it's not the core. Is there a linkage between Longyan and equivalence? Shi murmured, I don't remember it. Although Longyan's products can be converted into EMC, I don't remember that making a dragon suit requires Magnum Energy Star. After a few minutes of brief reflection, Shi decided to think again later. The capacity container. Well, Longyan's power bank is something that Laobi uses to protect his life. Shi said, it seems that at most, this is just a chaotic flux container. There shouldn't be an infinite RF creation flux container. With this thought in mind, Shi walked away, hoping to leave this haunted place. After all, everything was snow-white, and it was possible that he would suffer from snow blindness. Although it was very quiet right now and there were no soul beasts to disturb him, it was too quiet. Apart from the occasional whistling wind, there was really no sound left. Shi looked behind him. Previously, he released the AOE skill and electrocuted the soul beasts, leaving only a small black spot amidst the heavy snow. There was also a purple light, which was the soul ring they gave birth to after death. Black was needless to say, as their bodies were charred black from being chopped, and of course, there was also a 10,000-year soul ring mixed in. Suddenly, Shi realized a very serious problem. He doesn't have a sense of direction now. That is to say, he doesn't know if he is moving away from this snowfield or moving closer to its interior. Now he can still rely on a black dot formed by the corpses of those soul beasts to identify direction, but judging from the current posture of this university, it may not be long before those corpses are buried. When the time comes, revealing the snowy plain in all directions, how can he know that he is not constantly circling in circles? And at this moment, the system became very user-friendly, without saying a word, it directly released another task. Escape from the snowfield, task evaluation. 2 stars, normal. Shi was just about to curse, saying that there is no map, no direction, and this place is particularly dark. How do you ask me to identify the direction? How can I get out of here? The system only added. Task completion reward. Mod unlocking, travel map. Shi took a deep breath and resisted the urge to curse. However, the system was a bit tricky. He urgently needed something to recognize the direction to get out of this snowfield, but was told that only by getting out of this snowfield can he unlock the travel map. This is so frustrating. If it weren't for the idea that even after walking out of the snowy plain, one would still need the travel map mod, she would feel that this system is targeted at herself. However, is it actually completing the task to unlock the mod? No, she couldn't bear it for a moment. The more he thought about it, the more angry he became. Taking a step back, the more he thought about losing. Just as he was about to say something, a few messages popped up in the system. If the comprehensive evaluation of the task reaches 3 stars, excellent, and above, mods and G-key synthesis will be unlocked additionally. If it reaches 6 stars, excellent, and above, mods and NEI will be unlocked. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Giant Trees. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Giant Trees. Upon seeing this news, Shi finally calmed down, but still felt angry. Why didn't he finish talking about this broken system all at once? G-key synthesis and NEI are both synthetic tables. With synthetic tables, one can gain a deeper understanding of the world and understand what mods are currently unlocked in this world. However, Shi personally believes that NEI is better to use. Perhaps the system determines the mod level and unlock requirements based on Shi's own bias. However, the top priority was to get out of this snowy plain. So, Shi walked on the snowy plain for 7 or 8 hours, until the system prompt came to his mind again. Shocked. Benbi has a powerful body and doesn't know he can fly, wasting a lot of energy in vain. This is truly human. I'm so scared. Shi patted her forehead and suddenly realized that his meowing of me seemed to be able to fly. Sure, the EMC value stored in the first stage Magnum Energy Star is 204.8 million EMC, which is equivalent to 204.8 million EMC. The EMC value of the first stage Magnum Energy Star itself is also not cheap, which is 305463296 EMC value, rounded to 305.46 million. Shi himself is aware of the excess EMC value stored in his core, but he only sensed the word full. One word, easy to understand, full of EMC value, filling the first level Magnum Energy Star. In this case, if there is indeed a linkage between Long Yen and EE, then Shi can fly under the urging of her own RF. And all the previous signs indicate that there is indeed a linkage between Long Yen and equivalence. This is the feeling of a boiling sheep. Shi exclaimed, his RF already sending him into the sky, and the speed was really fast. When Shi felt the usual feeling of boiling sheep, little did he know how far he had already flown. Shi reacted, WC. This is too fast. Want to stop? Sorry, it takes time for the Torrent Pocket Watch to regulate its own time, slow down slowly, and then drop. Dragon System. Come on, let me ask you, do you have a pocket watch? Shi. With a loud bang, Shi collided with a huge tree, causing her to feel dizzy and disoriented. Task completed. Escape from the snowfield. Comprehensive evaluation of completing tasks. 1 star, trash. At this moment, Gon Shi was seeing Venus in his eyes. If he didn't hear the divine dragon system, it could be considered a blessing in disguise. Shi. Bless you. I'm Tian. Shi was about to say something, but the divine dragon system interrupted. Due to the CP host's failure to carefully review the skill introduction and lack of piety towards the great system, this criticism is hereby issued. The comprehensive completion of this task is 1 star, garbage. Task reward, subsistence allowance, has been issued. The travel map mod has been unlocked. The host can view the unlocked mods in systemmymod.wdnmd. Indeed, in medicine, CP has different meanings: cerebral palsy, CP, foolish host. Surprisingly addicted to women and disregarding their own mission, okay. You want CP, right? Here you are. It's real. Epic level task distribution, find Tianlong research and gain its recognition. Task comprehensive evaluation. 7 stars, epic. Purple, task time limit. None. If you want to find a girlfriend, please complete this task as soon as possible. Task completion reward. 1 girlfriend, definitely meeting all the requirements of the host. A great organization is always chasing after. Task failure penalty. What kind of thing? This task with no time limit is theoretically impossible to fail, but you actually voluntarily gave up. Well, let me give you a consolation prize. Single noble, medal, forever welcomed by a great organization. The heretical review committee is indeed great, she murmured as she stood up and looked at the giant tree in front of her, shouting, but I don't want to join this organization. Bridge Bean Sack, are you sure you don't want to confirm your current situation first? Shi then looked at the full view of this giant tree. He hit the position of the tree crown, and if he flew up another 10 or 20 meters, he wouldn't be dizzy from the collision. Looking at the full view of this tree, Nanny. Shi exclaimed in surprise, isn't this Nima a golden ancient tree? What does hitting the golden ancient tree mean? It means that at least the timeline of the Peerless Tang clan is now, and I am currently in Shrek Academy. What does it mean in Shrek? He was just in the core area of the Arctic, but now he is at Shrek College, which means he has just crossed a whole half-continent in just a few seconds. Fortunately, Shi did not see anyone approaching him. Just as Shi was about to breathe a sigh of relief, the sound of the divine dragon system came to his mind. A human soul master who is strong enough for you is nearby. Please seek your own blessings. But your soul is actually part of the system's property, so when the cool night turns your thoughts into a box, the system will automatically gather your soul to ensure that you will not have all your forms destroyed, to ensure your next reincarnation. However, the great system of the body cannot control it, and you seek blessings for yourself. Who is the soul master who is strong for me? Let me be mentally prepared. Shi quickly asked, but an old voice came into his ear. Young people, don't be too impulsive, but everyone makes mistakes. You and I both have such moments, but you need to wake up at critical moments in order to achieve great success. This voice made Shi shudder with estrangement. Coupled with the faint, squeak, sound of the rocking chair used by the elderly, Shi had already understood who the stronger person was for him. I dare not say if I have fully awakened myself, but it's not too bad either. Now, let me see if you can awaken. Who else can this Nima be if it's not Moon? Shi looked towards the ground near the golden ancient tree. As expected, a person wearing a white robe and a grey beard sat peacefully in an elderly rocking chair, making a creaking sound. Shi panicked and asked in her heart, System, are you sure you won't be discovered? I feel like I can still show off a few times without you. There is a possibility of seeking survival in death, but I feel like if you are discovered, I will definitely have no place to bury myself. I'll handle things, don't worry. He's just a strong group for you, but in front of me, the great system, with his little bit of three-legged skill. I'll tell you, if he can discover me, I'll pay for his own double-armed dung pit butterfly. Well, I don't seem to have a body, well, then make a change. If he can discover me, I'll complete all your 10 stars and legendary tasks. The same goes for the legendary characters he'll obtain in the future. In addition, I'll give you a set of chaotic dragon sets and a creation level flux container. The system was separated by various guarantees, but Shi didn't hear clearly because Muan had moved. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Decision Making. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Decision Making. Shi saw that Muan seemed to wave his hand towards him. Not right. It's not like that, it's true. What a great sin I have caused. Shi murmured softly, feeling that if I stand on this tree crown again, my life will be in danger. Then we need to get down quickly, otherwise, Grandpa Moon will get angry soon and he may not have any good fruit to eat. So, Shi looked under the golden ancient tree. Well, this height, the leap of faith. Shi's mind suddenly came up with this idea, but it was quickly dispelled by Shi himself. The leap of faith is impossible for Shi. Besides, I don't even have a bucket of water now. Even if I want to show off, I can't do it. Do you want me to fall and be half disabled? Water. Let me tell you, the water that my great system doesn't lack the most. You keep saying you don't have water. Obtain special item. Bucket. At the same time, an iron bucket filled with water appeared in Shi's hand. Is this letting me play with the landing water? Shi exclaimed in surprise, are you sure about the system? I bet there's no water in your bucket. Shi was too lazy to manage the system and prepared for a very handsome landing. I, Shi, dare not say anything else. I, Shi, dare to guarantee this landing water. Shi said arrogantly. However, Shi has the capital of Shi's madness. As a seasoned MC player with 10 years of experience, the server's gameplay time is as long as 8,000 hours, and the total game time has reached over 10,000 hours. However, Shi is actually a cute newcomer. It's been 10 years now, I can't even learn redstone buildings, and even bear suits and explosive suits are not good. What? Are you talking about PvP? Sorry, let's pull Coolie Fear out of the box of lifelong enemies before we talk. But on the other hand, Shi is proficient in all kinds of fancy things like landing water. Hurry up. Take advantage of your eloquence. Shi replied to the system, now, it's time to perform real skills. Let me show you a wave, rolling and throwing water at 360 degrees in the air, Thomas doing a big somersault and intercepting the water before landing unharmed. Speaking, Shi threw out the bucket in his hand, and the next moment, he also jumped off the crown of the golden ancient tree, pop. Dong! Without a doubt, Shi's landing in the water certainly failed. This is not the world of blocks, who told you that falling into the water can make you immune to all fall damage. Even if falling into the water can avoid most of the falling injuries, you still need to see what kind of water you fall into. A pool of water is not equal to a drop of water, and besides, Shi also had a problem in the air, a big problem. This is so special. Water spilled Why was there a pop first? It was because the bucket was covered with water all over Moon's head. A deceased ancestor once said that a 10-kilogram iron ball and a 1-kilogram iron ball would fall to the ground at the same height at the same time, but Mun, along with the elderly rocking chair, was more than 1 meter above the ground. Moreover, Shi threw the bucket down first and then guessed and jumped down on his own. That is to say, Shi, who jumped down afterwards, could never catch that bucket. And when that deceased ancestor saw this scene, he could rest in peace. It's over. Shi ignored the pain caused by falling to the ground. Seeing the bucket covered Muen's head with water, Shi felt a chill in her heart. It seemed that she couldn't show off anymore, not to mention that the bike had turned into a motorcycle. It was likely that the bike would be scrapped. Landing water failed, system props retrieved. Overall evaluation. Shame on the block man. With the disappearance of the bucket, but the water did not disappear, Shi watched as Muen's robe was completely wet, and then saw Muen's gloomy face under the white robe. The golden light flickered, and Moon's robe had already dried, probably using the light attribute of the holy dragon soul to dry the pure white robe. However, Moon's face remained gloomy. So everyone, old and young, just stared under the golden ancient tree. The old man looked gloomy at the child with light blue hair in front of him. The child was stunned, looking at the elderly person with awkward eyes. You still have a chance to make amends. Mu En stared at Shi for a while before speaking. At present, the host is facing a choice. A. Learn from Yun and save your life at the same time. B. Refuse Moon, reward 3 feet into the ground, and reincarnate 7 days later. C. Choose nothing. Explode in place, take off, spiral into the sky. I understand everything. Shi immediately said, and then bowed to Mu En. Master, accept my disciple's bow. That's really smart. Moon's face wasn't gloomy anymore, and he even smiled slightly as he said, since you worship me as your teacher, why don't you kneel down? I hope the teacher can understand. Shi began to talk nonsense seriously and said, to be honest, when I was young, I suffered from degenerative syndrome and couldn't perform such actions for the teacher the most. Moreover, I believe that a man has gold under his knees and kneels down to his parents, but it's not enough to be seen by outsiders. You can be a teacher for life as a father, but at the age of the teacher, I will understand the reason why I can't kneel down. Moreover, as long as my heart penetrates, any action is seen from the outside. But in fact, these are all systematic threats. He was just about to learn how to worship Mu En like Master Tang Sanbai. The faint numbness from being single told him that if he really knelt down, it would be less of an electric therapy, more of a direct abortion. Good. You are truly the person I admire. Mu En's eyes suddenly lit up and he looked straight into Shi's eyes. After staring for a while, Mu En smiled and said, "You're not a human, are you?" Shi was stunned, not because of anything else, because he didn't even know what he was now. Human beings. Well, although Shi was born with a beautiful and handsome human body, don't forget that there is still a first-level magnum energy star in his heart. Soul beast transformation. This is even more impossible. Soul beasts usually become stronger through their own bloodline, which determines their strength. Therefore, developing their bloodline is their path to becoming stronger. Looking at Shi again, all the RF left in his blood vessels is concentrated to become liquid. What is RF? That's a high-purity powerful current. In terms of the quality of current, only EU can match it. The remnants of God's soul. That's even more impossible. Ba Ganzi Shi couldn't even hit. So what is Shi now? Shi said he didn't know either. You must be wondering why I found out you're not human, right? Said Moon. Shi nodded. Because Moon said, and his colleague's rocking chair shook again, making a squeaking sound. How could humans possibly master the ultimate electric current? End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Master-Apprentice Dialogue. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors.